Hello, weirdos. It's Beeran here, aka Nacho Bandit, aka Burrito Lord, aka manga freak weirdo as a goof guy. I just wanted to do a manga haul for all you freaks and mousy girls out there that enjoy that stuff. I don't. I think it's trash, and it makes your ancestors cry if you're interested in it. So the first off, this was recommended on one of the YouTube channels I accidentally clicked on. I was actually trying to look for football videos and other manly things, maybe muscle cars, but I happened upon this, and it is this, which since I'm fluent in Japanese, I know what this says. This is this Kazakumi loves ramen noodles because I also love ramen noodles. Just kidding, I don't speak Japanese. But yeah, I picked that up. That was an Amazon find. So I actually do really like, as a goof, manga, especially about food. Got drawn to that by the Food Wars anime, I believe is how you pronounce that video type, anime. So I'm interested in seeing that. I also enjoy when there's very specific food in video games, like JRPGs and stuff like that. Like Monster Hunter was a fun one to do food in, things like that. Also, I'm enjoying Xenosaga 3 has some cool food stuff in it. So the next one, and this is going to include a pro tip. I was at Barnes & Noble looking at gun and sporting magazines and tripped and fell into the manga aisle on accident, and some books fell on top of me, and I felt obligated to buy them because they got damaged. This is Gantz, or as Canadians would call it, Gant Z, I believe is how they pronounce that. And this is one of my first tip for those weirdos that might want to buy anime. If you're at Barnes & Noble specifically, look for anime that's shrink wrapped. That means it's got boobies in it. And that is something that's important to enjoy anime. So this is a thick boy. Omnibus, which I am a big fan of in the comic book world, because that's what normal people enjoy, is American Western style comics from DC and Marvel. But again, this was fell on top of me, was damaged, and I felt I had to buy it or I'd get arrested. So that's looking forward to accidentally reading that one. The other one was also from again, the same YouTube manga video girl that I accidentally clicked on. The Kurosagi Corpse Delivery Service. I'm hoping this says kind of like dark, like a dark undertone. It's Dark Horse, which even makes normal comics that are good from America, but looks like they thought this was good enough to actually make. Art looks simple, but yeah, I was intrigued by the cover design. Looked really interesting, and also this wasn't at Barnes and Noble, so I couldn't tell by shrink wrap if it was naughty or not. But parental advisory, always a good sign. Keep away from kids, as you should with all manga, because it's trash. The next one I got is actually two. I picked up the first one of this series earlier and read it in one sitting on the toilet. One toilet sitting, and I finished the first one, and I'm like, I want to see where this goes. And that is Kaiju number 8, volume 2. I read volume 1, like I said, on the shitter, and I really wanted to see where it went. Cool Junji Ito bookmark. That is anime / manga that is always okay, even for cool dudes to read, because it's super dark and gory and creepy. That doesn't even really count as manga. It may as well be classic American horror. It's that good that I would put American label on it. But this is volume 2. I read volume 1 really quick, and just in case, as a goof, I got volume 3 as well. It's basically about Kaiju, sorry. I don't know these weird terms. Kaiju, think Godzilla or Pacific Rim was a pretty good movie, and that had specifically called out Kaiju. Are a real thing, and they invade, and of course they invade Japan more than anywhere else, because that's where the hentai's at, and that's what they're after. But this follows the story of a guy who's in his 30s, which is a nice twist. Usually it's teenagers and maybe college age. He's in his 30s, past his prime, and his job is cleaning up the dead kaiju. Like, they use the parts for research and weaponry and things like that, and someone's got to clean up that stinking corpse, and that's what his job is. But maybe he's ready to move up in the world and become one of the kaiju fighters. I actually kind of was hoping he'd stay as a kaiju corpse cleanup guy, because that I found more interesting. But it was compelling enough that I picked it up. So I have 1, and then here's 2 and 3 that I just got in this haul. The next one is 2, actually, I got. Just the idea of it I found interesting. And it's very popular, and there's many volumes of this. Chainsaw Man. He is a literal man made out of chainsaws. That sounds awesome to me. Kind of a... And I mean, this girl's cute, and it looks like she's, an adult, which is a nice change of pace from what the weirdo stuff usually has. This was not shrink wrap because, and it's important to note that I actually went to the crazy Japanese mall that's in Arlington Heights, Illinois, and they have a bookstore there that has all this weird shit. So I put on a disguise because I didn't want to be recognized going into there, and picked this up. I knew like they had a very good selection of this trash. So Chainsaw Man. Looking forward to reading that. I just bought the first 2. I didn't want to go whole hog and buy a whole bunch. So yeah, looking forward to that. Not really, but as a goof. And then, one of my favorite genres of manga, if I liked manga, that is volleyball manga. I started, the first one I read was one called Do You Like Big Girls? Which I do. I do like big girls, and it was also... Barnes & Noble had it, and it was shrink-wrapped, and it was even more degenerate than I would expect at a mainline store. I mean, it wasn't weird hentai, like tentacle stuff, but it didn't show penis or bush, but it showed everything else. And it also showed implied grinding and whatnot. So I decided to pick up what is the most popular volleyball-based manga. I don't even like volleyball, but I like the volleyball manga. I don't even know how to pronounce that. Is it Kaiju? I believe that translates from the Japanese into weird volleyball stuff. Directly translates. As I mentioned to some friends, I'm a bit of a polyglot. I speak a lot of languages, or pretend to. I speak English, Canadian English, British English, Australian English, New Zealand English, South African English, and that's most of them. So that's enough. And Japanese. I speak a little Chinese, but only Cantonese, not that filthy farmer Mandarin Chinese. The other one I read watched the manga for, and read the first one and said, "Wow, this is so." This is, I would say, this is adult oriented as well. The Goblinslayer series. This night guy is the main character. He's pretty. It's also follows very closely to like, as if a role playing games were real life, fantasy role playing games were real life, because they have like a bounty board, and you got to get your party together of a fighter and a healer and a rogue, and it ties to those sort of tropes very well. But word of warning, it's got nudity in it, and it's kind of rapey, I guess is the best way to describe it. It's the goblins. Goblins are doing that sort of thing, which is even grosser. But just a word of warning there. But the action's really good, and the characters, even though it's like, cutesy pie characters, they actually have some depth to them, which I thought was interesting. There's like a cleric that is in it, is kind of the sidekick to the Goblinslayer himself, and he's kind of cool. He only takes jobs that kill goblins, which all the other adventurers ignore because they think that's for newbies. But most of these adventurers, if they encountered a real goblin fight, they'd get their asses kicked because goblins are little badass bastards. So he just ruthlessly kills them. So it's great. So those are good. Recommend. And this other one I got as a real goof. My wife actually pointed this out to me because I was looking for more volumes of the series I talked about. Do you like big girls? And she goes, I think I saw that here. I'm like, no way, I didn't see that. And no, this is what we saw. Plus size elf. I am big into body positivity among elves, but only elves, not dwarves or kobolds, just elves. And you see, she's a little pooch. And she's addicted to fast food. So again, kind of a food-based one as well. So I have no idea what this is about. No idea whatsoever. But I thought that was kind of a cute cover. You don't see a lot of big elves, with a little bit of a paunch on them. So I'm looking forward to that. And I learned some tips from mousy manga girls that have YouTube channels, that you need to get a journal because you go hog wild sometimes, especially like when there's a sale. And I found good prices at that weird Japanese mall where each manga was like under $10, except for the Goblinslayer one, probably because it's popular. So here's my current one. I got the volleyball guys on there, and volleyball guy, and Tokyo Ghoul is a very popular one. I have the Omni of that. It's too thick to read. It's a pain in the ass. But what you got to keep track of the ones you're looking for and the ones you got. Otherwise, you end up doubling up. I thought I almost did for a second, but thankfully I didn't. So I bought that today. That's going to be fun. So yeah, that was my haul for today. I don't think I have any more coming this week, so that'll be it for this week. Anyway, don't like, don't follow, and don't subscribe. Thanks, everybody.